Hey folks, Crazy Climber 80 here again, and we're going to look at game number 13 in our 20 from the Intellivision series, and this is a game of basketball. This does not have the NBA license, so there's no teams, players, home courts, whatever, but it is pretty cool. It's very difficult to get used to, and this is Slam Dunk Super Pro Basketball, created in 1987 by the INTV Corporation and Realtime Associates. Very, very complex. For the keypad, you use the 1, 2, 3 buttons and the 4, 5 buttons. You can use actually the 9 buttons, and you'll be able to pass that way. You'll be able to select which players to choose for your lineup. This game is really surprisingly deep. And you can even allot yourself money to sign players through the draft. It's crazy deep. It takes a lot to get used to. You can choose from 1 million to 5 million, and you select that with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buttons. You can also call timeouts. You can make substitutions. To start things off, you select which player plays which side. You can select for the Reds team. You can select that if you want them to be player 1 to control them or player 2 to control them. This game is, as far as I can tell, intended for 2-player play. But you can select 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, or 5 million for your budget. And you can start by drafting your players. You can go right to playing basketball, or you can select to have the controls described to you. And here we'll check the drafting players, and you'll see the player's name. You'll see their height, points per game, rebounds per game, fouls per game, minutes average, all sorts of stuff, and how much they're going to cost. And then at the bottom you'll see your budget. Very cool. You press clear if you want to skip to the next player, or enter to select that player for your roster. At any rate, this is a 3x3 game of basketball, and here we're going to look at some of the players we can choose from. There's Stilt Chambers, and I just signed him. And then you go to the blue player and have them decide if they want to sign a player or not. You can press a clear button to say no to a player, or enter button to say yes to them. And just keep selecting until you don't have enough money to sign another player, and it'll show all their stats. Now, like I said, it seems like this is just geared for 2-player simultaneous play. If it's for a computer, if there's a computer against the computer option, I don't know what it is. But yeah, you just keep selecting players, lurch, until you can't afford them, or you can't afford any more players. And like I said, it's a 3x3 game of basketball, but you'll have 2 reserves, and you can substitute them. You can take a timeout. But the controls on offense is you can pass with the number keys, and it'll throw to a specific area on the court, and a player will try to run over and catch the ball. They might be too far away. It might be a turnover. And you can tap or you can press the top side buttons. There's the player rosters. You can press the top side buttons for a jump shot or a dunk. Of course, you'll dunk if you're close to the basket. And then the side bottom buttons are a set shot. You can press clear for stats for your players, 0 to substitute, and enter to timeout. and I have to select for both players, I guess, because the controller, player 1 controller has some of the same buttons as the player 2 controller. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but the game itself is pretty cool. This is the most deep game of basketball for the Intellivision. Beanpole, Lurch, they have some silly names for the players. Hacker, Nails, Tugboat, Thunder Dunks. But on defense, you can press a number button 1 through 1, 2, or 3 to switch to a different player on the court. We'll go ahead and get started. And you can press the action button on defense to jump block. You cannot adjust the time or the amount of time per quarter. You have to play a full 12 minutes. Although each second is more like half a second. And you have a shot clock, a 24-second shot clock. You cannot do backcourt violations. You can just wander. I mean, you won't get whistled for it. You can't get fouled. If you're gonna pass, like I said, it's the number buttons 1 through 9. You'll pass to a certain area on the court, and a player will try to run over and catch it. But it's real easy to get your pass picked off in this game, even if you're not even playing against anybody. You can easily pass and have a player right in the way. But if you are going to pass, release the disc before you pass. You know, the controller. If there is a foul when there is a made shot, there will be a single free throw. If there is a foul on a missed shot, there are 2 free throws. And for the free throw attempt, just press any of the action buttons. Just hold it for half a second and let it go. And usually the free throws will be made. If 3 players foul out, then 1 fouled out player can stay in. If a player has fouled out, the player that is put back in will give 1 free throw plus the opponent control of the ball with another foul. Infinite overtimes are given if the game is undecided. I mean, until somebody wins. Set shots are more reliable further out than jump shots. If you're going to shoot a 3, shoot a set shot. You don't jump. And again, there's kind of zone passing with the keys, with the number keys. And a player will often try to come to the ball when you pass. But they might not be able to get to it, and it'll be thrown out of bounds for a turnover. And like I said, there is no backcourt violations. You can dribble in the backcourt after passing half court. There is also no out of bounds violation. You can run along the edge and you won't go out of bounds. I'm going to play a full quarter, and I'll just show you clips of the game a little bit later on. There was a basketball game before this, and I think it was just simply called basketball or maybe NBA basketball, but it didn't have licensed players or teams or courts or anything. And it was not particularly good from what I remember. Not horrible, but not great. This is tons better. This is actually pretty cool. I love the ability to draft players. Yeah, games by the INTV Corp in the later 80s were generally pretty darn cool for the Intellivision. And even the ones that didn't make the list, I would suggest you check those out. But yeah, when you get close, the player with the ball on the blue team will be gray, and the player on the red team with the ball will be yellow. If you have a guy all over you and you keep trying to move around him, you're probably going to draw a foul. But if you take a shot, then he is probably going to block it. Yeah, the dunk isn't very dynamic in this game. They just show your guy rise up underneath the basket, and all of a sudden the ball will have been in the basket and you'll hear the crowd cheer. Yeah, I do not remember this for the Intellivision. I did see a little bit of the original basketball, and I was not terribly impressed. This one is actually fairly cool. It's kind of dumb. There's no major celebration or anything at the end of the game. No, kind of a shortage of bells and whistles, other than the crowd cheering. But yeah, if you're gonna shoot threes, shoot them flat-footed or set shots, not jump shots. You're more likely to make them. But yeah, if you call a timeout or do a substitution or whatever, you'll also be able to look at the player's stats. Not only their stats for their career, but their stats for the game. You also have the option to look at a controller tutorial, and we'll look at that a little bit later. You can, from one of the main screens, you can draft players, play ball, or describe controls. And like I said, we'll look at that a little bit later. I kind of dig this game. It's pretty cool. Definitely something you want to play with two players. I had to control both players. It's not easy. Lurch. I like that name. Does he say, "You rang," or something? But, yeah, your budget you can select with the 1 to 5 keys, whether you are going to have 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, or 5 million. I put in 5 million, so I could select some good players. It doesn't really matter, because I have to control both teams anyway. If you do take a timeout, you have infinite timeouts. I would definitely recommend checking this one out. If you want like a definitive basketball game for the Intellivision, this is it. Yeah, the Intellivision had a number of strong sports titles, especially compared to the Atari 2600. And that is the end of the first quarter. And here you can sub players, sub from the other two players and put them in. And players will kind of tire. We'll scoot forward to halftime here. Yeah, no halftime ceremony or anything. That's kind of lame. But and here is a foul in the act of shooting. Well, first a foul shot here, which I missed. And there I scored. 3-point opportunity. Ugh, I missed again. And I got my shot blocked. Well, now here is a foul out, I believe. fouled out. And so you have to pick a different player from the other two. But if like all three players foul out, if three players foul out, you will get to keep one of the fouled out players, I think. And here's the substitution we're doing. Hacker. Silly names for the players. And now let's look at a three-pointer made. Doesn't happen very often. Yep, that's 3. And here is the stats screen. And yeah, in green, that is the player's career averages. And then in yellow, that is the player's average for this game. Points, shooting percentage, etc. And then here we are going to look at the controls, a little tutorial. Select player with the wheel or dial controller and the 1 to 5 keys. See the player stats, clear key. Swap player in or out, 0 key. And when you're done, go to the game, press enter key. That's called managing. Yeah, there's going to be a number of sports titles that we're going to look at in this series coming up here. A lot of good sports titles for the Intellivision. And then on defense, you use the wheel or dial controller. I don't know why they call it a wheel, but you use the dial controller to run. You switch players with the 1 to 9 keys, even though there's only going to be 3 players on the court, and block shot with the side keys. But that was Slam Dunk Super Pro Basketball by the INTV Corp in 1987 and Realtime Associates. Well, this is Crazy Clown Race, and thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you soon with game number 12 in our 20 from the Intellivision series. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.